Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Bill. This video is going to be a Darksun's campaign update. I'm a player in this game, not the game master. We're playing in Pathfinder and we're using the 2nd edition information and rules for the world itself. So, and I don't know, other than the surface information of Darksun, I don't know a whole lot about what all the depth of the world is. Other than magic kills the planet. It takes away life from the living plants whenever you cast arcane magic. So where we last left off, we had just getting ready to begin what we thought we were setting up was an ambush to fight some things that were fighting caravans or attacking caravans. And they were at or near the last great battle that had taken place within a few months from the town we had just left and some other force. So we have plenty of bodies littering the battlefield. We set them up around a makeshift camp with a fire going. And then we went out in the distance around trying to hide and wait for them so we could ambush them. Well, it turns out two of our fighter-like characters, Ort, my fighter barbarian, and the monk fighter, he's a pugilist class, so he can rage and use the monk abilities. Me and my character and his character were hiding next to the giants and didn't know it. These giants stood 20 to 25 feet tall when they stood up. So Ort starts the combat prone and getting hit by the giant. And I think I lost about a third or a fourth of Ort's hit points from the hit. When combat actually began on our terms instead of the surprise round, Ort fought that one for 4 rounds. But I only had my weapon, my good weapon. It's a 2-handed giant's greatsword in my hands for the first 3 rounds. And I was making 2 attacks in a round. On the 3rd round, I had just criticaled him, but my last attack was a 1. So I critically, and as I pull back with the weapon, I throw the weapon behind me. And that starts the rest of the combat where Ort's not as effective damage dealing because he just switches over to his Morning Star that he carries, and it deals about half the amount of damage that the big weapon was dealing. We marked where the sword landed on the map. I just never went to get it because I was raging and we were already in melee combat. So rather than break melee combat and let the others take the hits, I was getting up there and taking some hits. Now the monk fighter kept fighting his guy pretty good, and they were almost even, taking hits back and forth. And then I come up with Ort to join in his fight. At that point, the sway of combat changed. Now, there were 4 giants that arrived at the surprise round. 2 arrived by the campsite we had set up. Our archer, which was 50 feet behind us that were in melee combat, was firing over us at those giants because he was up on the hillside firing down. He had some good rolls in the beginning, but then he just rolled a lot of 1s, almost 5 of them back to back. We started out, he was breaking his bowstring, and if he would have rolled enough of them in a row, the game master was going to say, well, you throw your bow down at him instead of your arrow. But that didn't happen, so he was able to at least keep raining some arrows onto the giants. The giants he was attacking that were by the fire, one of the clerics engages in melee combat. One of the new clerics engages in melee combat about 3 or 4 rounds into combat. The other cleric joined Ort when he was in melee combat, helping him fight his giant, and then they moved over to the other one when Ort killed his. Trying to think, the new fighter that joined the party was helping the pugilist fight his giant. And then Hoya was taking pot shots in the beginning at the giant by the fire, one of the giants by the fire. And then after that, she went and helped Timmy's character, help the pugilist in melee combat. She was using her spells, her psionic abilities, because she's a psychic. She was casting Mind Thrust onto that one, I think about like 2 times. And then she goes over, like she changes target from that to back to the one at the fire and starts hitting it. The one that she was targeting eventually snaps out of like a trance or something and then runs to join the melee combat that we had going on after we had defeated one of the giants. So now we still have 2 giants in melee combat, and then 1 giant by the fire in melee combat with 1 cleric. Hoya moves up to get within range of the giant that's in melee combat with the cleric by himself, and she starts hitting him with the last of her high level mind thrust, which is only 3rd level, but high level mind thrust, where she's doing 68 damage to it each turn. And once she uses all those, she switches down to the 2nd level version, which I think at most for her does 5d8 damage. And she hits him a few more times. He ends up trying to retreat, but doesn't get very far. Trips over his own gear and whatnot. And then the new cleric in the party puts him out of his misery. Meanwhile, the melee combat keeps going on, and Ort drops another one of the giants. At least I think he dropped another one of the giants. I could be misremembering this. While the archer kept pelting the giants when he wasn't rolling ones with arrows. So, as that's going on, this combat ended up taking the whole game session. We end up defeating the giants. Took us a long time. Ort takes and severs all the heads except for the one that was crushed, and I think we're taking one of the heads back with us. I might edit this if we're not already back in town. I'll have to ask the game master when the game session begins, but if we're not already back in town, I might take the hands of all the giants, so that way we have evidence of the right hands of all the giants being taken as the giants being killed. They at least be smaller and lighter than the heads of all the giants. So that's what happened last game. Ort was injured pretty badly. The clerics started healing him while I was in melee combat, which helped a lot. But he was already down to a quarter of his hit points before the healing began. And that kept him in the combat, and then after the combat, I think he was healed to full. And if he wasn't healed to full, he was healed close to full. I know I have it written down on my character sheet. And then Hoya used over half of her psionic powers in the fight, which is a change. Since I got that upgraded mind thrust, it's been very useful. I feel like she's more useful now in combat than she had been. Hopefully I didn't bore you all with this recap. If I did, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoy it, let me know. Until we all game again, guys.